Harihi Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Mahaperiva Sharanam. Adi Shankara Bhagavad Padal's Soundarya Lahari, explanation of verse 1. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktaf Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakhalu Kushalas Panditumapi Atastvam Aradhyam Harihara Virincha Dibhirapi Pranamtum Stotumva Kathamakrita Punyaha Prabhavati. We will look at the outset. We will first look at the Padachedam, the splitting of the words in the verse, and then we will go into the meaning line by line. Shivaha Shaktya Yuktaha Yadi Bhavati Shaktaha Prabhavitum Nachet Evam Devaha Na Khalu Kushalaha Spanditum Api Ataha Tvam Aradhyam Harihara Virincha Dibihi Api Pranamtum Stotum Va Katham Akrita Punyaha Prabhavati. Soundarya Lahari, a beautiful shloka that extols the beauty and grace of Goddess Parashakti, interestingly starts with the word Shivaha, the consort of Parvati. Adi Shankara, who himself was an avatara of Lord Shiva, during his Digvijaya in Punya Bharata Bhumi, also had the bhagyam of visiting Kailasham. Lord Shiva and Parvati, the father and mother of the entire universe, were happy seeing their little child. The father, Lord Shiva, gifted 5 Shivalingas, which Adi Shankara himself installed in 5 different places. Yogalinga in Kanchi, Muktilinga in Kedaranath, Varalinga in Nepal, Bhoktalinga in Sringeri, and Mokshalinga in Chidambaram. As he received these 5 lingas from Lord Shiva, Jagannmata Parvati Devi was eager to bless Adi Shankara in a similar manner. She gifted to him one of the greatest and sacred texts called Soundarya Lahari, written by Lord Shiva himself on Parvati Devi, that talks about the beauty of Devi, has detailed description of her grace, and is nothing but praise of Jagannmata, who protects all the children of the universe. Adi Shankara, happily accepting the 2 sets of gifts from Parvati and Lord Shiva, left Kailasha after seeking their blessings. As he was leaving Kailasha, Nandi Bhagavan, who was at the entrance, intercepted him as Adi Shankara was carrying certain palm leaves in his hands. Nandi felt distressed that the Mantra Shastra was being taken away from Kailasha, and he pulled a few palm leaves from Adi Shankara's hand. Shankaracharya was able to recover only a part of the manuscript from verse 1 to 41. Meanwhile, there was a command from Goddess Parvati for Adi Shankara to script the remaining 59 shlokas himself. Thus, the first half of the celestial script is revealed as Ananda Lahari, shlokas 1 to 41. The second half, shlokas 42 to 100, a total of 59 shlokas, were composed by Adi Shankara and were named Soundarya Lahari. Ananda Lahari means the blissful waves, and Soundarya Lahari, the beautiful waves. Together, this entire text is named as Soundarya Lahari. This is the background story of Soundarya Lahari, and now we enter into the meaning of the first verse. Shiva Shaktya Yuktaha Yadi Bhavati Shaktaha Prabhavitum Nachet Evam Devaha Na Khalu Kushalaha Spanditum Api. When Shiva is enjoined with Shakti, he is empowered to create. Only then can he perform his actions of Srishti, Sthiti and Samhara. If the Lord is not thus, he is indeed unable to even move. Ataha Tvam Aradhyam Harihara Virincha Dibihi Api pranamtum stotum va katham akrita punyah prabhavati. Hence, how can one who has not performed meritorious deeds be capable of saluting or praising you, Jagannatha, who is worshipped by Hari, Hara and Brahma? To summarize again, Lord Shiva, only along with Shakti, becomes able to do creation and other actions in this world. Without her, even an inch he cannot move. And so, how can one who does not do good deeds in the previous births have an opportunity to sing your praise and become adequate to worship you? O Mother Goddess, she who is worshipped by the Trinity, Vishnu, Shiva and Brahma. This verse can be chanted for Sakala Karya Siddhi, attaining success in all the undertakings and also overcoming any hindrances in undertaken tasks. Thus concludes the meaning of verse 1. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Hari Om Tat Sat. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Jai Jai Shankara. Hara Hara Shankara. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Shri Soundarya Lahari. Explanation of verse 2. Taniyamsam pamsum tavacharana panke ruhabhavam virinchis sanchinvan virachayati lokana vikalam vahatyenam shaurihi kathamapi sahasrena shirasam harasamshyudyainam bhajati pasito dholana vidhim. In the previous verse, verse 1, Goddess Parashakti's inevitable power, where she is the root cause for all the actions that are happening in the universe. Lord Shiva is able to perform his actions only when he is along with Shakti. When he is not so, he is not even able to move an inch. Hence, the Trinity, Vishnu, Shiva and Brahma worship and salute Parashakti. For mortals like us, only he who has done some good deeds in the previous births is able to get the opportunity to worship and praise Goddess Parvati. In the second verse, the worship by Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, as mentioned in the first verse, is explained a little more in detail. The divinity and the power of Ambal's Pada Dhuli, the minute dust of her feet, is exalted in this verse. Let us look at the Padachedam and then get into the meaning. Taniyamsam pamsum tava charana pankeruha bhavam virinchihi sanchinvan virachayati lokan avikalam vahati yenam shaurihi katham api sahasrena shirasam haraha samshuddya enam bhajati bhasita uddholana vidhim. Taniyamsam pamsum tava charana pankeruha bhavam. Tava charanam, Goddess Parvati's beautiful feet, the feet that resemble pankeruha, lotus that beautifully blooms in a swamp filled with dirt. Taniyamsam pamsum, the minute dust present in the lotus-like feet of Goddess Parvati. What is the significance of this dust and what is the power behind it? Virinchihi sanchinvan virachayati lokan avikalam. The dust which is so small and minute in stature, Lord Brahma, who is the creator, Virinchihi, accumulates this dust of Ambal's lotus feet. And what does he make out of it? Brahma is the creator of the Prapanja, the universe. using the minute dust from the lotus feet of Parashakti, Nanmukhan, the four-faced Brahma, creates the 14 worlds according to the rules and regulations of creation. Whenever something is created, there needs to be order. Thus, by accumulating the minute dust from Ambal's lotus feet, Lord Brahma, by gathering it, creates all the 14 worlds in order. Thus, he attains the state or sthanam of creator only by the pada dhuli, dust of goddess Parashakti. That is the story of Brahma. How does Lord Vishnu, who is the sustainer, come into the picture? The third line describes this. Vahati enam shaurihi katham api sahasrena shirasam. Shaurihi. As Krishna was born in the Kula of Shuraha, another name given to him is Shaurihi. Shaurihi is Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, by 1,000 heads, as described in Purusha Shuktam, and also as the serpent Adishesha, the tamasic form of Vishnu who supports the world with his 1,000 heads, somehow manages to carry this sacred dust of Ambal's feet. Lord Vishnu, the Paripalakaha, the one who sustains the universe, does so by somehow carrying the dust by 1,000 heads. The creation and protection has the source in Ambal's lotus feet dust. With respect to Shiva, Haraha, Samshuddhya enam bhajati bhasita uddhulana vidhim. Lord Shiva, the consort of Parvati, further powders this dust, which indicates destruction, and sprinkles the sacred ash all over his body. Thus, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva gain their respective titles as creator, sustainer or protector and destroyer because of the sanctity and power of Ambal's Pada Dhuli, the minute dust present in her lotus feet. Kanchi Mahaperiyava explains that only for Mahavishnu, the word Kathamapi somehow manages to carry on his 1,000 heads. The beautiful explanation Mahaperiyava gives is that it is easy to create and easier to destroy. To protect and sustain is the most difficult task one can undertake. So, Vishnu uses caution to carry the Pada Dhuli on his 1,000 heads so that the beings in the universe can be protected and sustained. What a beautiful explanation. To summarize the Vyakhyanam of verse 2, Brahmadeva, having picked up a tiniest speck of dust of your lotus feet, creates the universe comprising the totality of Characharas, the animate and the inanimate beings. It's only with this dust he creates the 7 upper worlds and the 7 nether worlds. Shaurihi or Mahavishnu, the sustainer, is stated to uplift the universe comprising of all the 14 worlds by carrying the speck of dust on his 1,000 heads. Haradeva, having applied a scrap of your Padaduli or the dust of your feet, is enabled to take up the role of destroyer of the universe. To summarize, Lord Brahma, the creator, accumulates the dust from your feet and creates all the worlds in order. Mahavishnu, in the form of great Adishesha, with his 1,000 heads, somehow carries the dust of your feet with great effort to sustain the universe. And great Lord Rudra takes it, powders it according to rules and regulation, and smears the holy ash throughout his body. This verse can be chanted for attaining success in all the undertakings and also overcoming any hindrances in undertaken tasks. Thus concludes the explanation of Soundarya Lahari's verse 2. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Harihi Om Tatsat. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Jai Jai Shankara. Hara Hara Shankara. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Shri Soundarya Lahari. Explanation of verse 3. A masterpiece composed by Lord Shiva himself, compiled by Adi Shankara Bhagavad Padal. The very first verse talks about how Ambal is the root cause for everything that happens in the universe. Lord Shiva himself, only when he is with Ambal, is able to perform his duties and actions. Ambal, who is in such a lofty position, is praised by Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. We mortals get an opportunity in life to praise her, to worship her, to surrender to her only if meritorious deeds have been performed in the previous births. The verse 2 highlights the power of Ambal's Pada Dhuli, the minute dust in the beautiful lotus feet of Ambigai. It is only using that dust Brahma, who is the creator, creates the 14 worlds in order. Mahavishnu somehow manages to carry the treasure of the dust on his 1,000 heads. It is only through that he is able to sustain the universe. Lord Shiva, according to the rules and regulations, transforms the Pada Dhuli into Bhasma and smears all through his body. The verse 2 connects Pada Dhuli with Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Verse 3 relates how Pada Dhuli makes an impact on the life of mortals like us, Samanyargal. Let us go into the Padacheda and then the explanation of the verse. Avidyanam Antaha Timira Mihira Dvipa Nagari Jadanam Chaitanya Sabaka Makaranda Shruti Jhari Daridranam Chintamani Gunanika Janma Jaladhau Nimagnanam Damshtraha Mura Ripu Varahasya Bhavati. The line 1 describes the state of someone who does not have any spiritual knowledge. Avidyanam Antaha Timira Mihira Dvipa Nagari. Avidyanam, for mortals who are spiritually ignorant. They might have little bit of knowledge on materialistic topics in the universe. On the other hand, they are completely ignorant about Bhagavan, Bhagavad Swarupam, and the means of attaining and realizing Bhagavan. One who is spiritually ignorant is said to be in complete darkness. Antaha Timira. Antaha is inner and Timira is darkness. He is completely in a place of darkness without being aware of or having any knowledge of the most important spiritual aspect of life. To that person, what impact would Ambal's Padaduli have? Mihira Dvipa Nagari. There is a beautiful imagination here where sun is said to rise from an island. If we think about it, sun never rises and it never sets. Sun is still and immoving in one place. It is only due to the rotation of earth we feel the rising and the setting of sun. If sun were to rise from an island to a place which is completely immersed in darkness, when the sun is rising, the brightness of the rays would completely kill the darkness that surrounds it. Similarly, Ambal's Padadhuli would completely erase or make vanish the darkness that one experiences due to spiritual ignorance. The second line talks about somebody who is in a more inferior position. Jadanam Chaitanya Sabaka Makaranda Sruti Jhari, Jadanam, for somebody who is completely dull-witted. The first line talks about someone who has a little bit of knowledge about a few things, whereas the second line talks about somebody who is incapable of using the intelligence provided to him by Bhagavan. How does Ambal's Pada Dhuli elevate such a person? Jadanam Chaitanya Stabaka Makaranda Sruti Jhari. To a dull-witted person, the Pada Dhuli is like pure intelligence, Chaitanya, Chit, Chetanam, which is compared to that of honey that emerges like a flowing stream from a bouquet of flowers. Tabaka Makaranda. There are many fragrant flowers filled with sweet nectar. If the nectar were to emerge out of those flowers like flowing stream, what bliss would one experience? Similarly, for the dull-witted, Ambal's Pada Dhuli is like pure intelligence that makes the ignorance completely go away. The first two lines tackle the intelligence aspect of life. To lead a fruitful and meaningful life, we not only need intelligence, we also need wealth, Aishwaryam. The third line talks about such impoverished people. Daridrana Chintamani Gunanika Janma Jaladhau. Daridranam, people who are completely impoverished. They have nothing in hand to lead their lives. To such people, Ambal's Pada Dhuli is like the gemstone Chintamani. Chintamani Gunanika. During Samudra Manthan, the churning of the ocean, we know that there were many items that came out of the churning. One such item is the rare gem Chintamani, the wish-fulfilling gem. It has the capability to give whatever one wishes for. Ambal's Pada Dhuli is not just one Chintamani. It is like a group of Chintamani gems that make a beautiful necklace. Such is the power of Ambal's Pada Dhuli. Through the Pada Dhuli, the poverty vanishes and the impoverished have the ability to obtain whatever they wish for. The last two words to be read along with line 4. Janma Jaladhau Nimagnanam Damshtraha Mura Ripu Varahasya Bhavati. Janma Jaladhau, in the ocean of births, the Samsara Sagara, Nimagnanam, those who are immersed. We all go through the cycle of birth and death and experience pain and suffering in the Samsara Sagara simply due to avidya. By granting the knowledge, intelligence, Ambal's Pada Dhuli helps those immersed in the ocean of births, saves those immersed in the ocean of births. There is a beautiful analogy, simile, described here for how one is being saved from the ocean of birth. Damshtraha Muraripu Varahasya Bhavati. Varahaha, the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, where he took the avatara as a wild boar. Vishnu has another name, Mura Ripu. Mura was the chief of Narakasura. Hence Mahavishnu carries the name Murari. Ari means enemy, so does Ripu. Muraripu and Murari mean the same. Just like Lord Mahavishnu, who took the avatara of Varaha, using the protruding teeth, Damshtraha, the tusks of the boar, saved Bhuma Devi, earth, from the clutches of Hiranyaksha and brought her out of the ocean where she was hidden. Similarly, Ambal's Pada Dhuli are like tusks which save us from the ocean of Samsara Sagara. an analogy to be cherished. Avidyanam antastimira mihira dvipa nagari. For the inner darkness of the spiritually ignorant, the dust of Ambal's lotus feet is like the island city of the sun, where he rises and shuns away the darkness that surrounds the city. Jadanam Chaitanya Stabaka Makaranda Sruti Jari. For the dull-witted, the Padadhuli is the flowing stream of honey from a bouquet of flowers, denoting pure intelligence. Daridranam Chintamani Gunanika. For the impoverished, it is a necklace made of Chintamani gems that grants whatever one wishes for. Janma Jaladhau Nimagnanam Damshtraha Muraripu Parahasya Bhavati. For those immersed in the ocean of birth and death, it is like the tusks of boar, Mahavishnu, the enemy of Mura, utilized to save Bhuma Devi, Mother Earth, from the clutches of Hiranyaksha. Such is the power of Ambal's Padadhuli. To summarize, O Goddess, the dust under your feet is like the city of rising sun that removes all darkness from the mind of the ignorant. For a dull-witted person, it is like honey that flows from a bunch of flowers. To the poorest of men, it is like necklace of wish-giving gems. And it is like teeth of Lord Vishnu in the form of Varaha, who brought to surface the Mother Earth to save them from drowning in the ocean of birth. This shloka can be chanted to gain knowledge. Thus concludes the explanation of verse 3. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Jai Jai Shankara. Hara Hara Shankara. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Shri Soundarya Lahari. Explanation of verse 4. Twadanyaf panibhyam abhaya varado daivata ganaha Tvameka naivasi prakatita vara bhitya bhinaya bhayat tratum datum phalamapicha vancha samadhikam sharanye lokanam tavahi charanaveva nipunau. The first verse talks about how Ambal Parashakti is the reason behind every movement, every action that happens in the universe. Verse 2 extols the power of Ambal's Padadhuli, how Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva are able to perform creation, protection and destruction through the Padadhuli of Ambal's feet. Verse 3 explains how Padadhuli has a powerful impact on mortals like us. For one who is ignorant, the Padadhuli is like a rising sun from an island that dispels the darkness of ignorance. For the dull-witted, the Padadhuli is like a bouquet of flowers with nectar oozing out, signifying intelligence. For the impoverished, Padadhuli is like a necklace made of Chintamani gems, the wish-fulfilling gem. For those who are drowning in the ocean of Samsara Sagara, Ambal's Padadhuli is like the tusks of Muraripu, the enemy of Mura, Mahavishnu's Varaha Avatara, where he rescued Bhuma Devi, Mother Earth, from the clutches of Hiranyaksha and brought her out and saved her using those tusks. If Ambal's Padadhuli is of such greatness and power, imagine the power and greatness of Ambal's feet, where Padadhuli has its origin. Verse 4 talks about the greatness of Ambal's Padangal, Ambal's feet. Let us look at the Padacheda and get into the detailed explanation line by line. Tvat Anyaha Panibhyam Abhaya Varadaha Daivata Ganaha Tvam Eka Na Eva Asi Prakatita Vara Abhita Abhinaya Bhayat Tratum Datum Phalam Api Cha Vancha Samadhikam Sharanye Lokanam Tava Hi Charanau Eva Nipunau Tvat Anyaha Panibhyam Abhaya Varadaha Daivata Ganaha. In general, we can see gods having two hands with two different gestures. One, Abhaya Hastam, which indicates do not fear, I will take care of you. The other one, Varadaha, the one that grants boons to the bhaktas. Here the verse starts with the word Tvat Anyaha, other than you, Panibhyam, by the hands, by just showing the gesture, Abhaya Varadaha, bestowers of protection from fear and granting boon. Devata Ganaha, the assemblage of gods. The verse doesn't talk just about one god, it talks about an assemblage of gods or group of gods, which is Ganaha. Ganaha means group. Daivata is God. In general, gods show the gesture with two hands, one indicating Abhayahastam, protection from fear, and the other Varadaha, granting boon. However, Tvat Anya, other than you, the other assemblage of gods have such type of empty gestures. And he continues in the second line. Tvam eka na eva asi prakatita vara abhiti abhinaya. Tvam eka, you alone, O goddess Parashakti, na eva asi, you do not carry this gesture or show this gesture using two hands. Prakatita, display. Vara abhita, the display of gestures that indicate giving or granting boons and protection from fear. Abhinaya, abhinayam means gesture, which is the mudra here. To summarize the first two lines, he talks about how Ambal's hand gestures is different from that of the normal assemblage of gods. If we look at Lalita Sahasranamam, where Ambal emerges out of the Chitakni Kundam, she is seen to have four hands. The corresponding description in Lalita Sahasranamam goes, Chitakni Kunda Sambhuta Devakarya Samudyata. She rose from the fire of knowledge and is the ultimate truth. Why did she do so? Because she wanted to help the Devas. Udyadbhanu Sahasraba Chaturbahu Samanvita. When she rose from the Chitakni Kunda, she glittered like 1,000 rising suns, and she had 4 arms. Ragaswarupa Pashadhya Krodha Karang Kushojvala. She who has Pasha or rope in one of her hands and Ankusha in her right hand. Manorupekshukodanda Panchatanmatra Sayaka. She also has a bow of sweet cane, which is her mind, in her left hand. She has 5 bows of Panchatanmatras on the other hand. So we know that Ambal Swarupam does not have the Abhayahastam and Vara Mudra. If that is the case, how does a Bhakta who seeks Ambal's blessings to stay away from fear and to get what he desires pray to her? What confidence can he have that she will grant boons to fulfill his desires and protect him from fear? The next 2 lines talk about how Ambal's Charanara Vindam has the power to do this. Bhayat tratum datum phalam api cha vancha samadhikam. Bhayat tratum. You have the capability to protect us from fear. Not only that, phalam api cha datum. You are the giver of boons. You fulfill our desires. To what extent? You fulfill our desires more than what we ask for. Just like a mother who knows what the little child wants. When a mother feeds the little one might say, "Enough, Amma, enough." But the mother knows that the child has little bit of space in his tummy to have a little more food. She would happily, with lot of love, maybe sometimes force feed too, to make the child's hunger completely go away. In a similar manner, Jagannatha, the mother of the universe, has the ability to protect us from fear and grant us all the boons more than what we ask for. And how does she do that? Sharanye lokanam tavahi charanau eva nipunau. The entire universe surrenders to you, takes refuge in you. O the refuge of the worlds, Ma Parashakti, indeed your feet are themselves an expert in protecting us from fear and granting boons. Other than you, the assemblage of gods are bestowers of protection from fear and boons by empty hand gestures. You alone do not thus display bestowing of boon and protection from fear by gesture. O refugee of the worlds, indeed, even your feet are expert in protecting from fear and giving reward in excess of that which is desired. To summarize, normally, whenever we pray and worship our Ishta Devatas, they do fulfill our worldly desires with their hand gestures. But your four hands are occupied and decorated with Pasha, Ankusha, Ikshu and Bana. Thus, Devi, though your hands are full to protect us from fear and grant us boon, we realize that your two beautiful lotus feet would most certainly suffice solace to us. This shloka can be chanted to remove all fears and cure diseases. Thus concludes the explanation of Soundarya Lahari's verse 4. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Jai Jai Shankara. Har Har Shankara. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Shri Soundarya Lahari. Explanation of verse 5. Haristvam Aradhya Pranata Saubhagya Jananim Pura Nari Bhutva Puraripumapi Kshobha Manayat Smaropitvam Natva Ratinayana Lehyena Vapusha Muninamapyantaha Prabhavati Hi Mohaya Mahatam. Verse 1 of Soundarya Lahari talks about how Ambal is the root cause or the origin for all the actions that happen in the universe. Only through meritorious deeds one gets an opportunity to worship and praise her. The verse 2 explains the greatness of Ambal's Pada Dhuli, the minute dust in the lotus feet of Ambal. Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva perform their respective duties only through this minute dust. Verse 3 describes the impact the Pada Dhuli has on mortals like us. It grants one to have spiritual realization. For the dull-witted, it is like nectar of intelligence oozing out of a bouquet of flowers. The Padadhuli is like a necklace of Chintamani gems that grants anything impoverished wish for. And finally, for those immersed in the Samsara Sagara, the Padadhuli is like the tusks of Mahavishnu's Varaha Avatara, who saved Bhuma Devi from the clutches of Hiranyaksha. Similarly, the Padadhuli has the power to grant us moksha. While verse 2 and verse 3 praise the Padadhuli, verse 4 talks about the place where Padadhuli has the origin, the beautiful lotus feet of Ambal. Other than Ambal, the assemblage of gods are the bestowers of protection from fear and granting boon by empty gestures of their hands. Ambal alone does not display these gestures. However, she does protect bhaktas from fear and grants more than what one asks for. O refugee of the worlds, indeed your feet are expert in protecting bhaktas from fear and giving reward in excess of what that is desired. Let us see what aspect of Ambal is beautifully described in verse 5. We will look into the Padacheda and go into the detailed explanation. Harihi Tvam Aradhya Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananim Pura Nari Bhutva Pura Ripum Api Kshobham Anayat Smaraha Api Tvam Natva Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha Muninam Api Antaha Prabhavatihi Mohaya Mahatam. The first line goes, Harihi Tvam Aradhya Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janani. Saubhagya Janani. Saubhagyam, auspiciousness. Ambal is the creator of auspiciousness. To whom? Pranata Jana. To bhaktas who pray to her, who worship her, who bow to her. She bestows all the auspiciousness, good things to bhaktas who pray to her. Harihi Tvam Aradhya. Harihi, Mahavishnu, Tvam Aradhya, having worshipped you. And the continuation is in the second line. Pura Nari Bhutva Pura Ripum Api Kshobham Anayat. Pura, once upon a time, formerly, Nari Bhutva, having become a woman, having taken the form of a woman, what did Mahavishnu do? Pura Ripum Api Kshobham Anayat. Even Pura Ripu, the enemy of the three cities of the demons, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has a name, Tripurantaka. There is a story that goes where three asuras had three flying cities, and they had a boon which was granted by Brahma, that only when one single arrow destroys these flying cities in one shot, they could encounter death. On request from Devas, Lord Shiva takes up the challenge, and with the help of Brahma, Vishnu, Suryan, Chandran, all the Devatas, he destroys the three cities. Shiva is one who is mostly in meditation, in a yogic state. However, Mahavishnu, having become a woman, led Lord Shiva into agitation. He caused Shiva to experience some sort of attraction. This verse specifically mentions Shiva as Pura Ripuhu, the enemy of the three cities of the demons. After the three cities were destroyed, Lord Shiva continued to be in a Ugra, fearful form, with a lot of anger. The Asuras, fearing that their entire Kula is going to be destroyed, did complete surrender to Lord Mahavishnu. Not knowing the way out of this situation, Mahavishnu was contemplating various options. Sage Narada arrives there. He, who normally takes Upadesha or advice from Mahavishnu, for a change gives advice to Mahavishnu. The easiest way out would be to pray to Goddess Parvati, Goddess Parashakti. Through that, you are definitely bound to please Lord Shiva. Mahavishnu prays to Ambal with a lot of sincere devotion. Ambal, who is known to be Tripura Sundari, the most beautiful in the three worlds, gives the anugraha or blessing to Mahavishnu to be as beautiful as her. Mahavishnu then becomes a woman and carries the name Mohini. Mohini, one who has the ability to attract, one who can induce moha. It was the same Mohini form of Mahavishnu during Samudra Manthan ensured that the Amrita does not reach or is not taken by the Asuras and given to the Devas. The same Mohini also destroyed Bhasmasura, who had received a boon from Shiva that anyone on whose head his hand is placed would perish, wanted to test the boon granted by Shiva on Shiva himself. Mahavishnu, as Mohini, intercepts and there happens a dance contest between Bhasmasura and Mohini, having done a dance step where Mahavishnu keeps his hand on his head and Bhasmasura tries to imitate the same step. Alas, he keeps the hand on his own head and turns into ashes. At that moment, Lord Shiva is attracted to Mahavishnu as Mohini, which results in the birth of Hariharaputra, also known as Lord Ayyappa. Lord Ayyappa was born to kill the Rakshashi Mahishi, who had gotten a boon that she would be killed only by the son of Hari and Hara. So this is the story that goes behind the first two lines of this verse. Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janani. To people who bow to you, you are the creator of auspiciousness. For example, Harihi Tvam Aradhya Pura Nari Bhutva Pura Ripum Api Kshobham Anayat. Mahavishnu, having worshipped you formerly, once upon a time, having become a woman, led to attraction even Puraripu, Lord Shiva. Line 3 goes, Smaraha api tvam natva rati nayana lehyena vapusha. Smaraha, Kamadeva, Cupid too, tvam natva, having bowed to you, rati nayana, the eyes of Rati, lehyena vapusha, with the most attractive body. Trying to create attraction between Lord Shiva and Parvati, Kamadeva gets burned by Lord Shiva's third eye. Kamadeva gets rebirth only by praying to Ambigai. Smaraha api tvam natva, having worshipped you, Smaraha, Kamadeva got rebirth. However, there is a catch there. During his rebirth, it was said that Kamadeva would be seen only through the eyes of Rati Devi. He would be visible only to Rati Devi. Rati Nayana, to the eyes of Rati, Lehyena Vapusha, with a body that is one of the best in the three worlds. This is just a symbolic representation that Kama or desire is always hidden in one's mind. The last line, Muninam api antaha prabhavati hi mohaya mahatam. Muninam, even sages. What type of sages? Mahatam Muninam. Even in great sages, what does Kamadeva do? Antaha prabhavati hi mohaya. Kama is capable of creating or generating delusion. Haristvam Aradhya Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janani Pura Nari Bhutva Pura Ripumapi Kshobha Manayat Smaropitvam Natva Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha. muninamapyantah prabhavati hi mohaya mahatam. You are the creator of auspiciousness to people who bow to you. Lord Hari Mahavishnu, having worshipped you, became a woman once upon a time, and using the womanly figure, he led even Puraripu, Lord Shiva, into agitation, moham. Having bowed to you, Smara, Kamadeva too, got a body which was most attractive to the eyes of Rati. Kamadeva is indeed capable of generating delusions even within great sages. This verse specifically describes Ambal as Kameshwari, one who is the goddess of Kama. Shiva and Parvati have the name Kameshwaran and Kameshwari. She being the origin of Kama, she gave rebirth to Kama, and only through Kama all the playful acts happen in the universe. If we think about it, any action that happens in this world is only through desire. Even this learning of Soundarya Lahari, I want to learn to chant Soundarya Lahari. I want to learn the meaning of Soundarya Lahari. There is a want or a desire or Kama that is associated with every action that happens in the universe. Ambal is the origin of Kama. However, we all want to get over that Kama, which is the root cause of anger and every other negative emotion we experience in life. Any pain, suffering, jealousy, greed, all of those are nothing but byproducts of Kama. Why would Ambal, who should be protecting all the beings of the universe with a lot of compassion and love, be the cause of Kama too? Let us take a very simple example. I'm sure we all are aware of the number one tennis player, Roger Federer. It is such a delight to watch him play. Imagine Federer in a Grand Slam finals. If we knew that the opponent is completely useless, Federer would easily win 6-love, 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 we would have no motivation to watch the match at all. On the other hand, his opponent was equally good, and there is a chance that Federer could lose, and we also want to see a few game points here and there. We want to see Federer losing but then having a stunning comeback. We also want to see how the opponent plays the number world. So what makes the match interesting is that the two opposite forces. Similarly, Ambal, who is Kameshwari, is also compassionate. Through bhakti, we fight the Kama or the unwanted desires that we experience in life, resulting in pain and suffering, and through constant bhakti, faith, sharanagati, we try to oppose that Kama that has been given to us. That is what makes life interesting and challenging. Kanchi Mahaperiyava in Deivathin Kural explicitly states that in order for life to be meaningful, we need those opposing forces. It is up to the human being who has been given this human body to wash away the karma that we have accumulated over many, many births, and through complete surrender and bhakti, we have the ability to fight that force, to fight Kama, and realize that Ambal, Parabrahma Swarupam, is the source of everything that happens in the universe. The Parabrahma Swarupam shows compassion to us. We take refuge by complete surrender. A very fine example is cited here, where Lord Krishna asked Kunti Devi, the mother of Pandavas, as to what her wish was. And she replied, I want suffering. Grant me that. Only then I would constantly think of you. How is suffering caused? Suffering is caused by desire, which turns into anger or sadness. So we seek solution. We seek anugraha, blessings, and that is how And that is how Kama and Krodha are indirectly blessings in our life. Our duty is to fight the Kama, fight the Krodha, and have complete devotion, complete surrender to Ambigai, so that she grants us the intelligence, the jnanam, to realize the happiness which is there inside us. She shows us the ways to negate all the sins that we have accumulated over many births. The fifth shloka again reiterates that Ambal is the cause of everything that happens in the universe. She is the one who is the origin of karma. She is also the one who grants us the ability to surrender to her, to show her complete devotion and bhakti. To summarize, you are the creator of auspiciousness to people who pray to you, who worship you. Even Lord Hari, Mahavishnu, having worshipped you once upon a time, got the blessing of becoming a woman, and through that form of Mohini, he led Lord Shiva, Puraripu, to agitation, to experience moha or attraction. Having worshipped you, Smara, Kamadeva too, got a body which is like a lambative to the eyes of Rati Devi. That Kama, who is indeed capable of generating delusion, even within great sages who have complete control of their senses. The corresponding relatable Lalita Sahasranama namas: Kamalaksha Nishevita, she who is being worshipped by the lotus-eyed Mahavishnu. Bhakta Saubhagya Dayini, she who gives all good and luck to her devotees. Mohini, she who has a form that is extremely attractive. Kshobhini, she who creates high emotions, or she who is the cause of mental agitation. Shambhu Mohini, she who causes attraction in Lord Shiva's mind. Kama Pujita, she who is worshipped by God of love, Kama, Cupid. Haranetragni Sandagdha Kama Sanjeeva Naushadihi, she who brought back to life the god of love, Manmatha, who was burnt to ashes by the fire from the eyes of Shiva. This shloka can be chanted for harmony between husband and wife. Thus concludes the explanation of verse 5 of Soundarya Lahari. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Jai Jai Shankara. Har Har Shankara.